talk about what else is happening in the market. And Borosil, that's definitely one company in focus. They've commenced the commercial production of their 25 ton per day production facility in Jaipur. So let's talk a little bit more about that. We've got Shreevar Kheruka, the MD at Borosil, joining in on the show right now. Shreevar, hi, great to have you on the show. You've recently began the commercial production at your new manufacturing facility in Jaipur. Tell us a little bit more about that. What kind of capacity utilization are you seeing at the consolidated level? What kind of utilizations are you anticipating for this unit?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. We have started production of a pressware, a borosilicate glass pressware facility in Jaipur. It's the first of its kind in India, and we are attempting to do import substitution. We have been selling, these are products which are used for lunch boxes, for glass lunch boxes or microwavable glassware, etc. We've just started this, a couple of days ago, the commercial production has commenced. So it's early days for capacity utilization. But we believe the demand is quite strong in India as we see a trend from plastic and steel to glass. And it's a healthier option. Glass is fully recyclable, so it's good for the environment. So we believe that we should be able to achieve, 60 to 80% capacity utilization, say in the first year or year and a half. That's the attempt. The location of production is at the same place where we already have our Opal glass production. So it's a brownfield expansion here, and we spent about close to 150 crores on this.
Shiva, Nikunj also joining in. If I may just encourage you to first share with us that what is the demand trend in the categories which you are operating: glassware, non-glassware, opalware. What's the demand trend in these three categories?
Well, India is at the very early part of the curve in terms of upgrading houses. We are moving to more nuclear families. People are upgrading their lifestyles. So the demand has been increasing very consistently over the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. Obviously, there was a spike during COVID, but we saw that leveling off a little bit. But we still see that people, as they look at upgrading lifestyles, and people are moving into new homes, there's a strong demand for kitchen and table products. And if I look at the various categories that you mentioned, I would say this is across the board. It's also driven by a lot of substitution. Like when we were growing up, when I was growing up, I think we ate a lot out of steel. And now that is moved a lot to glass, or, even in the case of bone china and so on. But I would say glass gaining share there. Plus, like I said, there's an inherent growth in the market size as the middle class of the country is growing and upgrading lifestyles.
So this entire migration of unorganized to organized, that is at play. Where is that number right now? How much market share do you have when it comes to this entire organized market?
Well, absolutely. The unorganized to the organized is definitely one of the drivers of the demand growth. It's hard to say, give a specific market share number. I would not like to do that, but I can say that directionally, unorganized may have been a larger part of the market compared to the organized. And now, after GST, after demonetization, we are seeing and even COVID, supply chain disruptions due to COVID, we see that the organized market has overtaken the unorganized market. As far as our market share within the organized space is concerned, I think it's a little bit dependent on product category. Some of our product, like opalware, for example, in India is a three-player market. We're one of the three players, and I would say all of us have, reasonably similar, let's say, market shares. But if you look at something like kitchen appliances, where we are a very small player compared to the larger and much more established players that are out there. So I would say it depends on category. Glassware, we would be the dominant player. So we would have more than, say, 50% market share in the borosilicate glassware. So we are trying to have, grow our market share definitely across these categories, but it's still a work in progress.
I also wanted to understand that your core business essentially is non-glassware, opalware, and essentially in the anything which has got to related with glass. You've diversified. You've diversified into lunch boxes. You've diversified into small kitchen appliances. Why is that?
Well, our brand promise is to be a brand of choice for the everyday usage of customers, for in the kitchen and table. And Therefore, when we started looking at our own brand, say 10 years ago, we realized that our product offering was very niche and it was occasional use products. When people would come over uh, for dinner, you'd entertain at home, then you'd bring out the glassware. And therefore, we wanted to diversify and be more everyday, a mass aspirational everyday usage brand. And that's why we got into products which were used every day. And therefore, like Opal is a dinner set. People are using dinnerware, eating breakfast or lunch or dinner every day. So that's the product category we entered. Similarly, kitchen appliances, as the kitchen gets more automated, things that we were doing manually in the past are now being done with automation. So the appliances has a need in every household, and even the B, C, D class tiers, towns of the city of the country. So being there again was making sure our brand is seen every day. We also, for example, got into bottles, our insulated steel bottles. This is again a replacement of plastic, where people going to the gym or kids going to school, or even professionals going to the workplace. Earlier we used to carry plastic bottles. Now that's moved to steel because it keeps the water or any drink hot or cold. So there's an evolution in demand of the customer. There's an evolution in the what expectations from style, from design, and then obviously, like I said, that's external. On the internal side, we chose to be an everyday use brand, and that's why we got into these new product categories.
Oh, that sounds pretty exciting. And what about the potential that you see when it comes to the export markets as well? Is that something that you will look to explore more aggressively, or is it that domestic operations, or the domestic market rather, is a lot more lucrative?
Well, yeah, our brand is well known domestically, and our focus has been to grow. We really feel strongly. We're proud to be Indian. We're proud to make in India, and we believe that our product is perfect for usage of our fellow countrymen. So our focus by far is the domestic market. What we have seen as a general trend ever since COVID is that there's a China plus one. It's a buzzword, I would say, but it takes a long time. China built its manufacturing, say, backbone over 20-25 years, and people across the world have gotten used to that. To switch over 1 year or 2 years not going to happen. It's going to take time, and we have seen a much increased, let's say, inquiry set from very large US, European, even Australian customers. And it started in a small way. How it goes, it's hard to predict, because geopolitical issues also play a big role in this. But at the moment, the focus is definitely on domestic, and exports. We'll see how it goes. It may be an opportunity, it may not. We'll see. We'll see how things unfold in the next year or two. Our capacities have been put up for the domestic market.
Your entire non-glass range, is that manufactured in India or that is made in China with the Indian label? How does it work?
Well, when we started this, say 7-8 years ago, it was what you mentioned. It was manufactured in China, and when we fast forward to now, I would say more than 65% is made in India. About 35% continues to be made in China. But if I was to fast forward another 2 or 3 years, I would say it would be 90-10, 90% made in India. So we're actively pursuing a strategy of import substitution. And even the glassware, forget the non-glassware, even the glassware, some of it we are importing, which we have just, as I said, announced a couple of days ago, our own manufacturing here. Because we see clear, let's say, trends in the favor of local manufacturing. And the cost of production in India has come down, as scale has gone up. So things that we could not do 8 years ago, now we can do. And we are, across our group, we employ 6,000 people in manufacturing in India. And I believe that we have good skill sets here. We will continue, deploying more and more capacity as the demand increases.
Growth for next 3 to 5 years on a CAGR basis, 10-12% growth for your category, is that something which is a realistic number?
We have always been projecting, and this is something that people ask all the time, that in the medium term, 15 to 20% is what we would aspire from a perspective. In the last 6 years, we have delivered more than 24%, right through COVID even. So if I was to compare our revenues, from 2018 to 2024, I think the CAGR growth is about 24-25%. Although obviously, as the base goes up, the percentage gets harder to maintain.
Well, Shreevar, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. it's a brand which all of us can relate to. From a school, from a colleges, even sometimes in a studio. Is there a Borosil? Yeah, actually.
That is
I didn't
a
realize. I
Borosil.
didn't realize
Your
actually. Yeah.
flask.
Wow. Ashwar, great to have you.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't realize it's lying there. Just a
Yeah.
coincidence.
And I'm sure our Dabbas as well.
Always Borosil, yeah.